This is what will keep you burning for God. If you are not awake to the love of the Father, you cannot know the depth of relationship you can have with God. And you cannot receive and appreciate Christ, who is the substance of that love. So when you find people who are not in the state of slumber, they are not in the state of slumber because they are conscious of the love of God. This is why no matter how far they wander away, somewhere, somehow, that love is an assurance that draws them back. That's the summary of the story of the prodigal son. He wandered away into riotous living. He spent everything he had. A point came, his life was reduced to living like a swine. But the Bible said he came to himself. What was that power that brought him to himself? It was the realization of the love of his Father. He came to himself and said, listen, this is not where I should be. No matter how bad I have behaved, no matter how terrible I have behaved, if I return to my Father, he won't reject me. See, if that guy didn't know the love of his Father, he would have said, listen, my life is over. I better accept my situation and die here. Because if I go to my Father, I'm not sure he will receive me. And there's no guarantee. The reason many never come back is because they were not taught the love of God. And because they don't know the love of God, they find security, they find joy, they find safety away from God. Why do you think somebody suddenly thinks that his life, the summary of his life, is the car he's driving? Because he has not known the love of God. So the car is what gives him security and value. He doesn't have value in any other thing. So now that he has gotten a prized possession, he derives value in it. But the one who knows the love of God, there is nothing you give him that he will prize beyond the love of God. The one who knows the love of God, there is no matter how far he wanders, that love will still. The Bible said the love of God constrained us. 2 Corinthians 5:14 and 15. The love of Christ, it constrained us. See, a righteous man may fall 7 times. He will rise 7 times, not because he's strong. No matter how fallen he is, he will remember that there is one who can receive him no matter how bad things are. There is one who will see his nakedness and not shame him. There is one who will see his weakness and not take advantage of him. That's the love of God. If men will remain standing, they must be awoken to the love of the Father. The prodigal son said, I will go to my Father. I will apologize for my sins, and my Father will receive me. No matter how rough my Father is with me, at least he will make me a servant. And it is better to be a servant in my Father's house than to be a servant here. What is it that he knew about his father? And his father didn't disappoint. When he was coming back, the Bible said the father saw him afar off, and the father ran to embrace him. While he was trying to deliver his speech, the father didn't bother to hear. Oh, my father, I have sinned against. Put your speech aside. You know what the father was thinking? My son was lost, now he's found. He was dead, now he's alive. I'm not interested in your speech. I'm happy that you are back from the grave. That's how the father was thinking. It's the love of the father. And the boy knew it. Guess what? The guy who was in the house was not with the father. It was the one who was away from the house that knew the love of the father. Because when the elder brother returned, he was offended. I have served you perfectly here all my life. You've never given me a lamb. And the father said, but you never asked. You know the problem of the elder brother? He thought he needed to merit what the father had. The father said, no, what I have you don't merit. What I have is an inheritance. I give to you because you are a son. All you needed to have done was to ask. Guess what the father did? When he embraced the prodigal son, he gave him his shoe. He gave him his signet ring. He gave him his garment. You know what was going on there? That boy no longer has an inheritance because he has squandered his inheritance. So what the father did was to exchange positions with him. The father gave him his place because the boy no longer had a place. That's the extent of the love of the father. The father is willing to exchange his place for the one who is worthy of judgment. That's why the Bible said in Romans 5:8, while we were yet sinners, we were unreasonable, we never asked for forgiveness. He said God did not just forgive us, God died for us. Christ died for us. He paid the ultimate price for people who didn't realize they needed to apologize. See, people will keep falling even from church until we teach them the love of God. I'm going to speak about consecration, but you cannot live a consecrated life if you have not first of all known the love of God. It will become legalism. See, most of us here, we think we are doing well with God. It's performance. That's why the day you make a mistake, suddenly you think you are no longer qualified. So what are you saying? All the while you felt qualified based on your performance. Why God does not expect you and does not want you to fall, you need to bear it in mind that you are not standing because you qualify. Listen, I am not preaching here because I qualify. By the grace of God, I live a consecrated life. But I will never climb this pulpit talking to you thinking I am here because I qualify. I am here because he qualified me. I am here because he loved me. I am here because he chose me. I am here because he had mercy upon me. The day you think you qualify, you may not utter it, but it will show when you err. When you err, if you will still talk with confidence. When you err, if you will still approach God. When you err, if you will still believe God will move. If you can't approach him, if you don't believe he will move, it means unconsciously you were saying the reason he moved was because of me. It was because of what I did. It wasn't because of Jesus Christ. This is the undoing of many people. They've always walked with God on the basis of their own merit. So the day they lose that merit, they lose their walk with God. God will always expect you to live up to the mark. That's why he provides grace. But God is never expecting you to think you are walking with him because of your merit. You are walking with him because he made you. You are walking with him because through Christ, he gave you merit that you don't deserve. And you must understand that, otherwise, when you fall, you will never rise. This is why we lost many people. We couldn't balance consecration and the work of Jesus. Consecration is your reasonable response to the love of God. But consecration is not what qualifies you to walk with God. It is the work of Jesus that qualifies you to walk with God. The work of Jesus is your merit with God. But consecration is your reasonable response. Your consecration will pay when God is rewarding you in eternity. But while you are yet walking with God, you are walking on the basis of salvation that Jesus provided, which had no input from you. You must know the fatherhood of God. You must understand the love of God. In John 3:16, the Bible said, the way God demonstrated his love, he summarized the whole love of God into one act. One. Because that's what captures the full scope of the love of God. One. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The day you understand and appreciate Christ and the works that he has done, you have understood the love of God. There are many tributaries to the expression of the love of God. You can be in an accident and people die, God bring you out. You can go for an interview, others were rejected, you were granted. You can be in danger, others perish, you came out. There are many tributaries. You can be going through challenges, God can move somebody to come and support you. There are many tributaries, but none of them suffices in explaining the love of God. I've been in a situation before where I needed money. I didn't have anybody. Out of the blues, somebody who had not spoken with me reached out to me and credited me money. And it has happened back to back. Many years ago, I was a youth corper. In Nigeria, when you are done with university, you serve the country compulsorily for 1 year. And as a youth corper, I was traveling at the time. I needed to come back home from the state where I was posted to. And I didn't have money. I was traveling from Warri to Onitsha to proceed to Makurdi. And then I was wondering what I was going to do because I didn't have money. I just needed to get to Onitsha, hoping that something will happen. While I was in Agbo, there's a place between Abraka and, well, I don't want to trouble you. While I was there, suddenly I got an alert of over 20,000 naira. And I was shocked. I didn't know who sent it. It was later in the evening that somebody reached out to me and said, he sent me some cash. I would have been stranded. Many years later, I was invited by a church to preach on the street where I received that alert. And they put out a red carpet to receive me. I stood in shock. I said, this God is a humorous God. The same place I was stranded some years ago that he intervened is the same place that I am being honored. I knew that street. I just smiled. I said, this God is a good God. You know, he was telling me that first intervention is not the only intervention. There are higher layers of intervention. Once upon a time, I was stranded here. Now I am being received here like a king. It is the mercy of God. It's the love of God. And I can tell you that story. There are different versions of those stories that has happened at different times. I was traveling from same Warri during service to come to Makurdi for a program. A pastor invited me. And I didn't have money. I thought I was going to withdraw the last cash in my account. The ATM was not dispensing that denomination. I put my NYC cap on my head. I walked up to somebody, asked for money. The person gave me money. I continued my journey. I've seen the love of God in different ways. Even in ministry, there are many meetings we want to go for. There is no money. God says go. And then God moves somebody from another country to pay for the meeting. We were supposed to go to Ghana for a conference. And then we spent quite a fortune. Only for the team to come back to tell me they still needed $40,000. I said, no, we spent too much. How are you still going to be requiring this amount? But they needed it. I withdrew to God. 2 days later, somebody from the US that we don't know from Adam called and sent $45,000. So you will see the love of God in diverse ways. Get the point I'm trying to make? You will see the love of God in diverse ways. But all of that is weaved into a stem. The real expression of the love of God is not that you passed in an interview, you were delivered from an accident. All of those are tributaries. The real manifestation of the love of God is that while you were worthy of death and condemnation, God stepped down. God became a man. God took your place in death and in shame. And he gave you everything that belonged to him and took everything that belonged to you, even when you didn't ask. That's what Jesus represents. That's why the expression of the love of the Father is the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus. And Paul now said in Romans 8:32, if he did not withhold his only begotten son, but freely gave him for us, how shall he not with him give us all things? The reason I'm going for an interview, and I don't care how many people will be rejected, I believe I will be picked. It's not because I am special. It's because I understand that if he gave Jesus for me, giving me an advantage in an interview is not a big deal. The reason I am traveling and I believe he will keep me, and many may perish, but I know I won't perish, is because I understand that if he has given Jesus for me, delivering me from an accident is not a big deal to him. The reason I'm going into business and I know I will be favored because God loves me is because I understand that if he has given Jesus for me, it is not a big deal for him to bless me on the business. So the death of Jesus becomes the biggest revelation of the love of God. And it has to make sense to you, because if you know who Jesus is and you know what he did, you will know you are not worthy of it. It has to be love that will make him do it. Because I don't understand why God will step down from his throne of glory and put himself at the mercy of his own creation to punish him, to torment him, to shame him, just because he wants to save them. It has to be love to make him do that. Because when he created the world, he had already given a law that the wages of sin is death. He gave that law. And the only way we will not sin is if he makes us robots. That means we don't have a will. We just move around like robots. Imagine you came into this meeting. You didn't plan to come. When it was 5, you stood up and you came and sat down. And then when the meeting is over, you stand up, you go again. You don't feel like laughing, but you are programmed to laugh after 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. That's not life. That's robotic. When God created you, he wanted you to have life, so he gave you will, free choice. God knew that it is possible for you to use that free choice to sin, but he won't rob you of the experience of life just because he will use that free choice. So what God did was that he went behind the scene and prepared to pay the price for you in case you choose to use your choice wrongly. So he wants you to experience life, and is willing to pay whatever price there is to pay in case in experiencing life you make the wrong choice. And this price God is willing to pay is too enormous to imagine. It will take him derobing as God, taking off his omnipotence, taking off his omniscience, taking off his omnipresence, taking off everything that makes him deity, coming into the earth, suffering like a human being, arrested by men, killed shamefully. He experiences death, goes to the grave, and then he comes back so that you will live again. That's the fatherhood of God. Does it not look to you like what Job was doing? Job created a good life for his children, and he knew that the children could make mistakes. But when the children go out to celebrate, Job will come and pray and offer sacrifice in case they have sinned. It is okay, it is possible for me to stop them from sinning by locking them indoors. But if I lock them, how will they live life? So why I want them to enjoy life, I'm willing to pay for any error they make. I'm ready to pay for anything that goes wrong with them. That's the heart of a father. He wants you to experience life, so he gave you free will. But he knew you may use that free will wrongly. And so he already went ahead of you and prepared to pay the price in case you err. And that price meant he was going to leave his throne, and he left his throne. That price meant he was going to strip himself of his godhood, and he did. That price meant he was going to be put to shame, and he did. That price meant he was going to be killed, and he did. All because he wanted to save you so that you can live again. It's not to save you to lock you up so that you don't err. He saved you so that you can live again. And while you are living again, he still doesn't take your will. He still allows you with your will. But this time around, he puts the Holy Ghost in you to guide you. He puts ministers around you to teach you. He creates buffers and systems to help you grow and to become like him. But by all means, you must enjoy life. What kind of love is that? Jesus said there's no love compared to this, that a man should give his life for his friend. When God gave his life for you, he was showing you that he loves you.